Welcome to another episode of At Your Library. This is Mary Logston, and I'm really happy to say that we are open for service here at our new temporary location at 620 Lincoln Way. Please stick around with me today so you can learn a little bit more about how we got here to this space and also what you can expect to be happening in the weeks ahead at your Ames Public Library. Well, as I said, today my special guest is Interim Director Lynn Carey. Welcome, Lynn.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, good. We're all glad to be here because this means that we are in our new temporary space. We're in our library. I guess we should just get comfortable with saying we're in the library.
We are in the library, and when you walk in the door, I think that's the first thing that strikes everyone is this is a library. This is going to be fine while we wait for our beautiful new building to be constructed. This is the Ames Public Library.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned people's first reactions. We're airing this on the day when we were originally scheduled to open for service, December 10th. And actually what ended up happening was we opened a few days early, which had a little bit of a sense of excitement about it on Friday morning. So just for our viewers who maybe haven't been catching all of the information about the library that we've been airing and writing and sharing over the last few weeks, I'm not tired yet of talking about everything that's happened to get us to this point. How about you?
There's a difference between being tired of talking about it and just being plain tired. We've all worked very, very hard the last few weeks, few months actually, but the last few weeks have culminated in this wonderfully exciting time of opening a few days early with this beautiful facility. And yes, let's talk about how we got here.
Yeah. Well, one of the things thanks. I'm glad that you're game, because one of the things that continues to be expressed over and over again is how much of a team effort this whole endeavor has been from the start. And I think that concept is bandied around a lot, and people like to think that they operate as collaboratively, and you have opportunities to work on a community project from time to time. But I have to say, having lived in Ames for close to 20 years, this really has felt like a significant community collaborative team activity, unlike any I've been involved in.
I would have to agree with you. And when you look out here and look at our bookshelves, you can go to a section that will have books on team building and management and leadership and all of that. And I think, for once, I'm going to say skip the book and join the library team. This has been an incredible team building experience. And the team has expanded way beyond staff to include many, many community volunteers, people from other city departments, local businesses. I mean, really, there's hardly anybody in town who didn't get to participate if they wanted to.
Well, let's just start, since you mentioned volunteers. What kinds of things did people who aren't employed at the library, what kinds of things did they do to help us to have a successful move?
Well, they were involved in many ways. Our teams that we had for the move, we had 3 shifts a day, and we had volunteers working on every shift, from everything from holding the door open so that we could be more efficient about getting in and out, acting as sort of a bouncer to make sure that the people who were involved were official and trained and had gone through our safety course. They helped move materials. They helped deconstruct and reconstruct shelves. They baked us cookies. That was an important part. They did help set up breaks and set up food, and just really almost every way that there could be involvement, we had volunteers. We also had, as I mentioned, food. We had area businesses who very generously offered to feed us, all of us workers and all the volunteers, and that was really a wonderful benefit. It allowed for a camaraderie. That's not even a word.
It is now. It works for me.
Okay, I love making up new words. But it allowed for us to come together as a team in between shifts and share tips and just have fun and get refueled and able to get back in there and work hard for another shift. And then we had many, many people who were just offering expressions of enthusiasm and encouragement and excitement. The other role that people played was just to exercise some patience.
Yes.
While the library was closed, we know that people's routines were disrupted, and their access to materials certainly was not available for them, and people were just very patient and excited about what was coming and have been just wonderful through this whole process.
I agree with everything you've said. My experience has been that during the move itself, I guess it was about 6 days when we shut down service at 515 Douglas and then focused completely on moving all of the 220,000 items, less what's checked out. So, I mean, it still was over a couple 100,000 items, I believe.
Yes.
One by one out of 515 and bringing it over here across town efficiently and setting it up. During those 6 days, there was just really a great sense of purpose, and the meals were a huge component of that, and taking breaks together, like you said, just sharing what worked well during the morning shift, tips for the folks in the afternoon. It was really a very special kind of team building and camaraderie, as you said. You mentioned other city departments. I know that we work really hard here in the city of Ames to be sure that we help one another out. We have this total city perspective that's very much in evidence in a lot of what we do. What kinds of help did we get from other city departments in terms of volunteering?
Yes, we had people volunteer from many different city departments, and they did things like drive trucks and haul furniture. We had some crews that just got some of the crummiest jobs in terms of going into back rooms and hauling out really heavy furniture. They brought over some teams to clean out under the pink stairs. That was a team effort that I think about 30 people were involved in, and they did a job that would have taken us probably a week. They did in a couple of hours. They've offered storage space for some of our things. Just really wherever needed. All we have to do is say help, and we have people coming and helping.
It is a wonderful feeling to have that kind of support from the community as well as other city staff. When we talk about the library staff, I know we've put a lot of focus on what actually happened during those days when we moved. The contribution of staff, though, goes quite a bit beyond that and involved many, many months of planning and also patience in changing the way we do business. Is there anything particular about the role that staff played that you think maybe we haven't done a good enough job of expressing, or you want to express again?
Well, one of the most gratifying things, I think, walking into this building right now that we're in is looking around and seeing that every single staff person can walk in each morning and they can say, I made this. I made this happen. And you're right, it didn't just start the first day that we had a truck pull up in front of 515 Douglas. It started with planning months ago and many hours of planning. And then this very critical moment when it was suggested, maybe we can do this ourselves. And the answer was yes. And so that took not just the people who were involved intimately in the planning, but everyone else carrying on with library operations to allow that team to do their work, but then everyone was involved in packing up, discarding, sorting, making tough decisions, and then reworking all of our processes, rethinking how we offer service and what's the most important to retain in this temporary space. So really, literally every single staff person was affected by this and very generously jumped in and said, what can I do? How can I play a part? And when they walk in the door, they can see that they did make something really, really neat happen.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that, one of the benefits that I've taken from this whole experience is the opportunity to work with folks closely from other departments. And, we're a large staff. We're open 12 hours a day, Monday through Thursday. We have 3 different shifts a day. And then on the weekends, we have lots of folks who come in who don't typically work during the weekday. This was a really special opportunity to be working side by side, again, on a common purpose with folks from all different departments, with all levels of experience with the community and with the library. And it just was, I think it will continue to prove to have been a good thing for us as a staff to get to know one another in a different kind of a way.
Absolutely. I would recommend it to anyone.
Yeah.
Just move out of your building.
That's right. I mean, to think that I have to say that there were fun elements to it. And I know from the start you said, and let's just have some fun. And we had to trust that, that you knew what you were talking about.
Well, just this once.
Yeah.
I can't emphasize enough the role that volunteers played in the fun aspect of this too. Library staff was pretty tired by the time we even started moving because we had done so much behind the scenes work. And so I think the first 2 days we were still high level of engagement and excitement. By the third day, I think staff was getting pretty tired, but each shift we had a fresh influx of volunteers who came in with that enthusiasm and excitement and can-do, and so we had to rise to the occasion and meet them. So it kept things at a very high level of energy throughout the whole 6 days. And I say whole 6 days, and we actually got done in half the time that we anticipated.
Right.
And that was good planning, great weather, and just an incredible number of people who gave it their all.
Well, now that we're in this space, what can the public expect when they come to the library?
Well, as I said, I think the first response that we hear from people is, this is a real library. And it is. It has a wonderful feel. It's stimulating and comfortable. I think what's surprising to people is that we got all of our materials to fit in here, and yet it doesn't feel like a warehouse of books. We have comfortable seating areas. I'm in a comfortable chair right now.
I am too. I think I might stay here all afternoon.
We still have Literary Grounds, our bookstore, and we have coffee and tea available for people. We'll be able to do some programming here. We'll have book clubs and some of the other small intimate programs, and we'll have children's programs. We have a computer lab. I mean, there's really not a lot missing other than our meeting rooms, and we know that that's an important component of what the library has to offer, and we won't be able to do that for a while, but really it's a full-service library. There's not a lot missing.
Right. I mean, I've over the weekend, I know people were pretty excited to see that we have the magazine exchange. There are certain little details like that I think folks recognize that might not have been the highest priority to squeeze in, but in fact, there is room for things like our magazine exchange and our paperbacks that check out on your honor. Some of those little things that are really convenient for folks who are taking vacations, and as well as the entire collection, and as you said, computers, media, etc. What I would encourage people to do is ask us if, although it's a nice, large, wide open space, and we think it's pretty easy to get around, and our signage is hanging, etc. Please do ask staff if you're not quite sure about where things are or how to go about checking out your materials, etc. Because I mean, it's exciting for us to engage and to just kind of show off our new space. We haven't forgotten 515 Douglas. Actually, I drove by there the other day, and give us a little bit of an update, would you please, on what's happening over there now that we've vacated everything down to the last paperclip. What's happening at that site?
Well, that's easy for me to do because my car just still automatically turns and goes past there, and then I have to pretend like, yes, I meant to drive by and check things out. Well, last week, in fact, a week ago today, we turned over the building to Abatement Specialties, and they have started the abatement of asbestos and lead paint.
Okay.
So it was a little disconcerting, I think, for people, myself included, to see big signs on all the doors of the library that said, "Danger, alert, do not enter." Not exactly the welcoming atmosphere that we had for so many years. But that means that work has started. Yes. So they have started making sure that things are safe in terms of abatement of lead paint and asbestos so that it can be turned over to the general contractors.
Okay, great.
And since we last talked, we've opened bids.
Okay.
And selected a general contractor.
Terrific.
Very exciting. The bid opening was really fun. We had a lot of staff people there, and we had 8 bidders, which is a good number in this climate, and all of them came in under expectations.
Great.
So we are really happy that we are definitely within budget, to the point that we were able to add in all of the alternates that we had identified, things that we didn't want to do without, but we could if we had to.
Right.
But we don't need to do that. We'll be able to offer everything that we had originally designed in the building.
Great.
And so a company from Wisconsin was the low bidder, and we are starting meetings with them this week.
Great.
So we'll get all of that ready to go, and they will take over the building mid-January and break ground.
Wonderful. Very, very, very exciting. I do hope that folks will continue to watch this program, as well as keep up to date on the information that we share on our website, as always, amespubliclibrary.org, where we will do our best to keep folks informed of what's happening with the construction, as well as what's happening here at the library. I would like to reiterate that we're open for business and our hours are the same, right? So we will be open Monday through Thursday, 9 to 9, Friday and Saturday, 9 to 6, and Sunday, 1 to 5. And our phone numbers are still the same.
Yes.
So really, service is resuming. We are a busy place. We hope that if you haven't stopped by yet at 620 Lincoln Way, in the Lincoln Center in Ames, that you will do so soon, and let us know what you think of our library. Lynn, thanks so much for taking the time to talk, and I think, as you said, last time we met, we were in an area that was very much a construction zone, and I'm looking at it now. It's not very far from where we're sitting, and it's quite amazing to see the transformation that's occurred.
I think we were both surprised when we realized it was just a little over a month ago that we were sitting here on chairs that we'd hauled out of a basement.
I know it.
It was a saw in the background.
Exactly,
I believe.
Exactly. It was a rough atmosphere, and now this is our library.
Yes.
So thank you so much for your leadership and for keeping us optimistic and moving forward.
Well, thank you, and I just love talking about the library.
I know, so thank you, and we'll have you back again soon.
Thanks.
Thanks again so much for staying with me today and joining us for our first At Your Library episode in our open temporary location. I appreciate Lynn taking the time to talk to us a little bit about what's happening and what we can expect to happen in the weeks ahead. Once again, this is Mary Logston at Your Library.